Thank you very much for being with me this afternoon. Lovely to have you. Congratulations, Mary, on your appointment. How does that feel?
Like anything vocational, I think there's a real mixture of feelings in me. So a little bit nervous, and a little bit excited.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work with vocations over the years, and I've always found if something's about a calling, it's not just about you and your response. It's what you feel God is saying to you and what God seems to be saying to the community of the church.
Yeah.
So it's never just individual, and that kind of community thing makes it feel shared.
Wow, excellent. So vocation has obviously been an important part of your ministry so far. What else has been kind of a highlight or an important aspect of your ministry so far?
I belong to that generation of women in the church who first offered a sense of calling to ordained ministry when we had no idea how the church might change. So when I was first ordained, women were allowed to be deacons, and I really hoped they might be priests. And I kind of dreamt maybe one day, and I thought probably not in my lifetime, women would be bishops.
Oh wow.
So that journey of change has been extraordinary, and that's one of, I think, one of the really exciting things, because when we tend to think of institutions, and especially institutions like the Church in Wales, it's often tempting to think change is really slow. We don't do new things. But that growth of new things is something I've enjoyed at so many levels. I love parish work, and it's been a delight over the last year to be a bit more engaged with that. There's been a number of vacancies, which has given me an opportunity to do some of the work of a parish priest, and to see local communities responding to different situations, especially during the pandemic, and to see how in some churches people have made an extraordinary response. It may feel very small to them, but it makes a big difference for the people whose lives it touches. So I think a highlight of ministry for me has always been about seeing how the Holy Spirit can cause change, growth and love to happen, even where it seems a bit impossible at times.
Wow. It's really important, isn't it, to be able to see that, and that can get lost so often. Yeah. So we're going to switch into Welsh for a little bit. I know that's something that you're a little bit apprehensive about, perhaps. Ond beth dych chi'n edrych ymlaen at yn y swydd newydd? Oes yna rhywbeth penodol hoffech chi wneud yn rhan o'r
llawer o
swydd?
pethau. Datblygu'r iaith Cymraeg. Dwi wedi cael lot o help, a pobl wedi bod yn caredig iawn yn calanogi fi yn y Gymraeg. Ond dwi yn sylweddoli mae lot o waith i wneud i ddatblygu'r iaith. A'r holl pwnc o'r cyfathrebu, dyna'r un o bethau sydd yn bwysig iawn i fi. Cyfathrebu y ffydd, a'r siarad efo pobl tu fewn yr eglwys, a helpu pobl tu fewn siarad am ffydd am y pobl sydd tu allan. A cyfathrebu yn ffwrdd gwrando a siarad gyda hyder. Dim ots pa'r iaith, ond mae'n bwysig fod ni'n gallu gwrando a ni'n gallu siarad gyda hyder.
Gwych. Wel, bydd rhaid i'r ddwy ohono ni weithio gyda'n gilydd ar hynna. Cyfarwyddwr cyfathrebu o fewn yr Esgobaeth. Mae siarad am iaith a ffydd yn rhywbeth mae pobl yn stryglo gyda ambell waith, a helpu pobl i ffeindio'r geiriau yna. Gwych, mae hwnna'n lyflu. So, how can we pray for you? Is there anything specific that we can, other than learning Welsh and confidence there, is there anything else that we can, what can we pray for as a diocese for you as you begin your new role?
Well, I think we've got brilliant foundations as a diocese with, it seems, a really strong sense of vision. So praying that we can continue to grow into that vision. So deepening in prayer. I was so challenged recently during Holocaust Memorial Week, and I was rereading the words of Edith Stein, who died in the gas chambers at Auschwitz, who was saying the first hour of your day belongs to God.
Wow.
And thinking, gosh, I'm going to have to get up an awful lot earlier. but there's something about being faithful to however it looks, and in busy family lives, praying as if we're in a monastery isn't going to work. But praying for us as a community, and for those of us charged with specific tasks of leaders, to have a really healthy and resourcing life of prayer. That there's such a temptation sometimes to be busy.
Yes.
And the church has a vocation, doesn't it, to model something different, to model an ordered use of time, where there's time for prayer, there's time for work, and there's time for joyful restoration. So there's something about praying for faithfulness in prayer, and praying for a real sense of forgiveness. I've always been helped in ministry to be in forgiving communities where people will speak the truth with love, and that's really hard. It's really easy to be critical about things we don't like, and especially to be critical behind people's backs.
Yes.
But to be able to speak the truth with love for our leaders, to our leaders, and amongst our communities. If we're going to persuade people, if we're going to encourage people that faith has something to offer, we've got to live it. And I need help to do that faithfully and wisely.
Wow. Gosh. Oh, goodness.
It's a lot to pray for.
It is, isn't it? But I'm sure that the people of the diocese would fully support you in that and be praying for you.
Thank you. I felt quite overwhelmed and quite encouraged by the number of lovely messages and support, but mostly by the people who said, I'm going to pray for you. Brilliant. And that's a real help if in any situation where you feel a bit anxious. So that's been really encouraging.
Excellent. Mary, thank you so much for giving up your busy time to come and join me today. And look forward to working with you as our Assistant Bishop in the future. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch o galon.